because it's a time and a place for everything. I'm not gonna say he's right and I'm not gonna say he's wrong. You know, but it's so crazy. When he spoke about it, I could have easily came out and said, yeah, you spoke about it. I ain't have to say nothing.
People, more fighters that probably were afraid of him are not going to be afraid of him anymore.
I really don't know. Anything can happen, man. You know, possibility. Possibility. I would love to see a rematch, but it may happen, it may not, you know.
So Floyd Mayweather gave his opinion on the rematch between GervontaDavis and Lamont Roach. He said that Tank, Davis, didn't fight well in the first match and should not have agreed to a rematch. In response, Davis accused Mayweather of being selfish and not supporting other fighters' success. Davis thinks Mayweather is jealous and only wants to stay in the spotlight.
First of all, Floyd don't never want to see no one like a fighter do better than them. Why the say TerenceCrawford should fight Benavidez? That don't make no fucking sense. You don't never want to see nobody be better than him. I'm telling you.
Who's next in line? Just so you're next in line.
Is there like
The last question, guys, gotta wrap
is there
up.
like a love-hate though? Like,
Yeah.
love the fighter?
Yeah, I love the fighter. Like, I ain't gonna lie, if he was like chill, like he'll be the smoothest, but he's not. You know what I mean? He's a great fighter. And my bad.
Oh, you're good, man.
And he cause I don't want to say like he's just a scumbag, but it's like he's a great fighter, and sometimes he can be good, but it's like it's always I'm this, I'm that.
GervontaDavis's exit from Mayweather Promotions was full of controversy. He had public arguments and disagreements with Floyd Mayweather about leaving the promotion. Their issues showed how complicated their working relationship was, as both had different ideas about how Davis's career should be handled. Their fight in public brought attention to the power struggles in boxing promotions and showed how hard it is for fighters to choose between having control over their own careers and getting support from big names in the sport.
He said, I'm not signed to a single soul. So is Tank now a free agent, or is he still signed with Mayweather Promotions?
Well, this is the Mayweather-Deji press conference. So I'm here to talk about Dubai. I'm here to talk about entertaining the people, having fun, and I'm not here to talk disrespectful or bad about any fighter. You know, they say America is the land of the free. You know, so we live, we love, and we keep striving each and every day. That's what life is about.
Bernard Hopkins, a boxing legend, recently shared his thoughts on GervontaDavis's career. He said that Davis needed to free himself from the control of Mayweather Promotions, which was holding him back. Hopkins explained that Floyd Mayweather had too much control over Davis's career, and that stopped him from reaching his full potential. After leaving Mayweather Promotions, Davis got the freedom to make his own choices, like whether or not to fight Lamont Roach again. Hopkins believes this freedom will help Davis grow as a fighter and make decisions based on what he wants, not what others tell him to do.
Commend Tank on saying, hey, this is my career. You had yours. I respect you from buying me a chain, buying me this, buying me that, take me on a jet. All that's great. But at the end of the day, I'm only going by his interview. You seen it and I seen it. Thank you, Floyd Mayweather, for all the things you gave me. If the intentions was you just looking out for me. But I got an opportunity to fight this big fight. And this soap opera between you and Oscar for all these years, I'm not going to let it affect me. That's my interpretation. And Tank wants to do the fight, but he had to break away from the chains of somebody he still respects and respected then. And he said, man, I got to do what I got to do. This is my career.
This first fight between GervontaDavis and Lamont Roach was full of controversy, especially about the referee. Steve Willis, the referee, was criticized for not giving points to Roach during important moments in the fight. Many people felt the referee's decisions were unfair and affected the result, which ended as a draw. Because of all the debate, Davis responded by challenging his critics and saying they could settle everything in a rematch. He made it clear that he was ready to prove himself again in the ring and wanted to shut down any doubts about his skills. The rematch even more exciting, and Davis was more than ready to take it on and show his dominance.
I don't know what the just happened. You're a referee. You should have seen what's going on. Why I would have, if I'm in the corner, I'm erratic in between rounds. What was your feeling in between rounds when you seen that?
We was going off. Actually, my assistant coach, Ben Johnson, he was going off on him. Like, hey, Steve, what the wrong with you? He was cursing him out and everything. He was like, that was a knockdown.
Yeah,
he just stood off and waved us off, and he was like,
yeah, because for me, one person would have been having to deal with Lamont, and the other would have been the whole 60 seconds.
Yeah, that's how it was. I was dealing with him, and my man Ben was dealing with the rough.
Right.
We got his attention along with the low blows as well. I was like, how many blows you gonna let us hit us with before you take a point? And then he finally warned him like in the 11th round.
That's crazy. Is there anybody in boxing media or media in general, because nobody picked you guys to win at all. Nobody. I mean, I seen you guys go on promotional tours from whether it was boxing podcast to the Breakfast Club. Nobody picked you guys to win. Like, when you get a second, you grab me a water. Sorry. And is there anybody that you got, I know because it's more than one person, but is there anybody, thank you, that you took personal out of all the interviews that you did? Is it one or two people or three people that you be like, this right here, anybody else, but I want to prove this one person wrong?
It's not necessarily that I wanted to prove them wrong, so I wanted everybody to shut the fuck up, for real.
Yeah.
But
GervontaDavis is very eager to have a rematch with Lamont Roach because he knows the first fight hurt his reputation. He sees this rematch as a chance to prove he's the better fighter, settle what was left unfinished, and show that he still belongs among the best fighters in the world.
We got to talk about it. So Tank officially came out and says that he wants to put this rematch as early as May. Now, if that were to happen, Lamont Roach gets a second time to prove himself. Now, in my personal opinion, his stock has already risen. He is already notable. The fact that he went toe-to-toe with Tank on a decision that ended in a draw, whether he loses this second fight or not won't even matter. Because he's directly in line to go against the Keyshawn Davis, the Shakur Stevensons, and etc., the Devin Haney's, and etc. I can see him moving up and going against a Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia or somebody like that. So many people to fight. Lamont Roach has definitely proven himself. But let's talk about something else. And that is the hairstylist situation. In my humble opinion, I believe she should have been quiet. As a hairstylist, there was nothing for you to say. No fan in boxing was going to look at them like, I don't want her braiding my hair. No one would have said that. But she hurt herself when she came out and publicly made multiple claims, got all these receipts that no one needed, no one asked for, saying, oh, this had no grease or oil in it. No one cares. Nobody even believes it. Sometimes it's best to remain quiet. But you guys let me know in the comments. Should she have remained quiet, or should she have did what she did, which is spoke up? You let me know.
Jeff Mayweather, Floyd's father, said he was surprised by the controversial result of the first fight between GervontaDavis and Lamont Roach. He admitted that he didn't expect things to go the way they did in the ring. Still, Jeff said he's a big fan of Davis and didn't think the result was unfair or a robbery. However, he did admit that Roach's performance hurt Davis's reputation, and now some fighters who used to fear Davis feel more confident about fighting him, which raises questions about how dominant Davis really is in the ring.
Roach, first of all, you surprised that everybody's wanting to see a rematch between these two because no one expected it to be a close fight in the first place.
That much is true. And me, myself, I'm a big Tank fan. And I was shocked. At the outcome of the fight.
Who did you have winning the fight?
I had Roach winning the fight.
Yeah. Do you consider it robbery, or do you lean Roach and are cool with the draw?
I wouldn't say it was a robbery. The fight was close. But if I was a judge, I would have gave Roach the fight.
Right. Well, talking about this rematch, what do you? I mean, so the one thing Tank always had for him, everyone, he had that kind of almost like Mike Tyson-esque, right? The air of invincibility, the knockout power. People were scared of him, that kind of thing. Do you think what Roach did to him, moving up in weight, and not being a big puncher himself, but able to withstand Tank, that kind of his air of invincibility has maybe been slightly diminished?
I won't say it's been diminished, but I do think that more people, more fighters that probably were afraid of him are not going to be afraid of him anymore.
And do you think that's almost something that could play in Tank's hand, right? Maybe we had an off day. Everybody has an off day, and take him.
Yeah, everybody can have off night, but I think the one thing that is the most important thing that nobody's talking about is the fact.
Now, the rematch will take place in Las Vegas, a city known for its strong boxing history. Some fans who are used to seeing Davis fight in Saudi Arabia had doubts about the location. But still, the rematch in June is building huge excitement among boxing fans all around the world.
The rumor is that GervontaDavis and Lamont Roach are going to be rematching possibly June 21st in Las Vegas. I don't know if Vegas just wanted to fight off the publicity, especially with Turkey taking a lot of fights over to Riyadh. Or they didn't want to return back to New York State Athletic Commission after they did Lamont Roach dirty. But Lamont said the terms were already agreed on for a rematch. He just had to sign it, so it seemed like, it's going to be this Vegas summer blockbuster. It's probably going to be the biggest fight of the year as far as in the United States. So it'll be interesting. Nevada State Athletic Commission don't play, but we'll see how it goes.
Shakur Stevenson, another top fighter in the lightweight division, gave his thoughts on the upcoming rematch between Davis and Roach. Stevenson, who has sparred with Lamont Roach before, said he believes Roach might have an advantage in the second fight. He praised Roach's unique style and pointed out that it's different from anything Davis has faced before.
What does the rematch look like between Lamont and Gervonta, you think?
I like Lamont in the rematch.
You were one of the few that kind of picked Lamont to begin with. Why was that?
I sparred with Lamont. I knew that he was a good fighter. He helped me get ready for the Oscar Valdez fight. And I knew his style, with Tank's style, what he was going to be able to bring to the table. I knew it. So.
Did you really win 20 rounds?
I swear to God, on my daughter's life, I won that much money.
How different does a rematch look in your opinion, Shakur? What adjustments do you think we see from both?
Huh?
What adjustments do we see from both in a rematch?
I think I can't tell you game plans. I could be fighting these guys, so I'm gonna keep my secrets to myself. But truthfully, they both good fighters.
Do you think it's a lot different rematch, or do you think it'll be close again?
It's gonna be a hell of a fight.
How did you see Tank in that fight? A lot of people are saying maybe he's just mentally not there. What did you see?
Nah, he was the same Tank. I don't believe that. I don't got no thought in my brain that makes me think that he wasn't the person he been all of these other fights. I think he was the same person. All this stuff that he going through stuff. I mean, everybody go through stuff. So he's the same fighter. He's going to be the same fighter throughout his.
Lamont Roach has openly shared his disappointment with the refereeing in his first fight against GervontaDavis. He has said many times that referee Steve Willis made several mistakes during the match, including not giving Roach points at important moments. Roach believes the referee was unfair and that his decisions had a big effect on the final result of the fight.
So obviously the part with the grease in the eye, that took on a life of its own, you know what I'm saying? That was a headline in the fight. One is, what did you think when he said that initially, just like the grease in the eye? But two is like, when you was in the fight, was there any point that you saw that? Like, did you see like him kind of messing with his eye, or did you have any indication that that was something that was bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
you jabbed him.
Before I jabbed him. Even that right hand that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed, he kind of rolled with it. But after that, you could see him wipe his eye. And then right after I hit him with the jab, you could see him wipe his other eye. So it's like it was corresponding to which hand that I punched him with and exactly which eye. So it's like crazy for him to say it's grease in my eye. And I think even when he say that, you could see me because I'm right beside him. You could see me like, nigga, what you talking about? So,
right.
But you say you don't think he willing though.
Whatever. See, but who cares? Like, sweat gonna get in your eye, blood gonna get in your eye.
Yeah, it don't matter.
Spit fuck around and get in your eye. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like you can be like, all right, time out, ref. Hold on, ref. You can't do that.
Right. Would you be cool with Steve Willis doing the next fight?
Hell no.
He can't do the next fight.
No, he can't do the next fight.
Right.
No.
Pops, it's a no?
Hell no.
Yeah, fuck that nigga.
Yeah. You know how many Coach Ben on him, man. He lucky he ain't running Coach Ben after that fight.
But look how many times he fucked the fight up though. Right. The knee, him going to the corner to get assistance, like who knows? Not saying that they did any cheating shit or nothing like that. But like he wiped his face with a towel. You can't do that.
Right.
You can't do none of that.
Right.
That's a disqualification. You turned your back on the ref after you took a knee. Usually the ref gonna be like, all right, he don't want to fight no more. Fight's off.
Bazian Ennis, the father and trainer of rising star Jaron Boots Ennis, shared his thoughts on the first fight between Davis and Roach. He believed that GervontaDavis should have been disqualified for an illegal knee during the fight. But the system ended up working in his favor, giving him an advantage. Ennis also pointed out that the referees seemed to support Davis, which he thought led to an unfair result.
That he won. He won the fight, you know what I mean? You know, and then that when he took that knee, that really was supposed to be a disqualification. You know what I mean? And then you can't go to the corner and get your eyes wiped, you know what I mean, with a towel and all that. You know what I mean? Anybody else would have got disqualified. Or getting points taken away. Some, you know what I mean? So other than that, you know what I mean, that's where I look at it.
As far as game plans go, how should GervontaDavis approach this fight?
I think something might have been on Tank mind. You know what I mean? Because he didn't fight the way he normally fight. To me. I mean, that's the way it looked to me. You know what I mean? He looked like something was on his mind. He was worrying about something. I mean, but he still fought good, though. You know what I mean? But like he normally did. You know what I mean?
If you're Lamont, do you press the action early or do you do exactly what you did in the first fight? Whereas they'll press him after round 6, round 7, round 8.
I think he needs to press the fight more and stay busy. You know what I mean? You know, because he looked good. Like I said, both of them look good. You know what I mean? Can't take nothing away from neither one of them. That was a beautiful fight, man.
Should the rematch happen next, or should Tank maybe take a Shakur, a Lomachenko?
You said Tank?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, if it don't happen next, you know what I mean? If it don't happen next, Lamont gonna wind up fighting.
Shakur Mikey Garcia, a former world champion, also shared his thoughts on the upcoming rematch between Davis and Roach. Garcia believes that Davis will make adjustments in the rematch and avoid the mistakes he made in the first fight. He thinks Davis's ability to learn from his past fights will give him the advantage in the rematch. However, Garcia also warned that if Davis had any mental issues or distractions, he should not fight unless he was completely focused and ready.
I think Tank wins in the rematch.
Why?
I think he'll make the right adjustments and he won't take too long to fight. He kind of gave a lot of the round away sometimes. I think he'll be more active and he'll win. But big props to Roach for his last fight and performance. Fuck, surprised everybody.
Right.
I think he was robbed from the victory. Again, that knockdown should have been a knockdown.
Right.
But whatever, he gets a rematch, you know. And maybe they get a third fight, you know, after that. Who knows?
Maybe it turns the Marquez Pacquiao.
Maybe it turns out to be another great fucking matchup, and they say, you know what, let's run it back.
Right.
And maybe that controversy from the first fight actually helps Roach fucking get 3 fights out of it instead of just the one, or you know, you never know. So hey, things happen for a reason, and I think he did really well in his first one. Hopefully he puts on a great fight, even if he were to lose, but in a great fight, he'll get a third fight.
Right.
You know?